I was thinking about
My eyelids droop once more. To sleep and dream is bliss unspeakable. I'm going off. What was I thinking last? Slowly I rise on downy pinions. Dreaming I fly. I soar. Through the clouds my way I'm winging. I'll sing no more tonight, and steps, limping unequally, and grumbling voice, pass round the corner, and are heard no more.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Corpus Christi. My name is Lauren Cantatori-Causey. My pronouns are she, her, and I am very pleased to be your worship associate this morning. Whether this is the first time you've been here or whether you've been with us for years, both here in person and those folks that are joining us online this morning, we unconditionally welcome you as your full, authentic self. We're excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We welcome all faiths and no faiths. In particular, we welcome you as you are and whomever you love and wherever you are on your journey. Our gathering during this space and time has intention and purpose. This space is holy and sacred. Though we might sometimes fall short of our ideals, we do come together with the intention to grow as spiritual and moral beings. To that end, we recite a covenant each week, which is not a creed, but a promise that we make to one another. We live within our values: interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice, with love at the center. We have several announcements today. Today, right after service, those people who joined us last Sunday for the Path to Membership are welcome to please join us after the service for the second half, which will be a little quicker, and we're looking forward to seeing you. This Tuesday, September 15th, that's not this coming Tuesday, but there's a drum circle. Bring your own drum or percussion instrument. Do we know when that is exactly? What day? Which day is it? August 18th. August 18th, got it. Okay. All are welcome to drum, dance, or just listen to the heartbeat. Kirk Newport, who I think is almost back from his trip, will be leading the meditation group this Wednesday at 6 p.m. in the teal room. And all are welcome to settle in, breathe, and share a quiet midweek pause together. Endowment fund requests are due September 15th. Our endowment fund has built up to quite a comfortable amount now, and those funds the interest from those funds are able to be dispersed twice a year for projects that are not operational. They have paid for our chairs, they just paid for a roof repair, they've paid for bulletin boards. So anything that's not an operational expense that you think the church might benefit from, please go ahead and fill out a form, and you can email it or you can hand it over to Michael Causey, who is somewhere. He will be here. Okay, our Friday book club is starting. Have you seen Louis Valise by Catherine Ryan Hyde? We will meet this coming Friday, August 21st at 2 p.m. to discuss the rest of the book. Our next book will be Justice on Earth, People of Faith Working at the Intersections of Race, Class, and the Environment. This book was actually the Unitarian Universalist Association common read. Each year, the UUA picks a particular book to invite people to read and talk about, and this was the 2018-2019 common read. Shows faith in action through social justice, environmental justice, and racial justice. This will be discussed in 2 sessions, September 4th and 18th. If anyone is interested in leading a future session, please reach out to Joy. Cups. The Covenant of UU Pagans will meet next Sunday, August 23rd after the service, and the topic is Celtic and Norse practices. On Sunday, September 6th, our church will be featured in the Corpus Christi 7-day film project, brewing 48 films created Dia de la Sorpresa right here at U2C3, featuring talent from our own congregation, which includes Dakota Jones, Sonia Jones, Don Robertson, and Ian Robertson. The Flight 3, I guess that's the series of films, will be at the Harbor Playhouse on September 6th at 5 p.m. Tickets are available through the CC7D website, and you can also ask Don for information. As always, check the information board in the hallway and the order of service for regularly occurring events, and scan the QR code on your order of service for the e-blast, where all of those events and more are listed. We did not get a chance to acknowledge this last week, but We are heartbroken to announce the passing of a beloved friend and member, James Michael Reed. Mike Reed departed on Monday, August 3rd on this year at the age of 87. Predeceased by his loving wife, Bobby, he is survived by his sisters. He was a gentle man of strong convictions who could easily engage you in a cutting debate or hijinks born of a robust sense of humor. A professor and a lifelong student of history and a collection of amusing tidbits of information, he was always good for an interesting conversation or a book recommendation. He was a church leader, served in many capacities here, and a longtime facilitator of the humanist group. His many talents included playing the piano to accompany the children's choir. He was full of surprises and will be sorely missed. Can we hold just a moment of silence in honor of Mike? Thank you. It is our custom in this church to offer visitors and newcomers an opportunity to introduce themselves if they feel comfortable doing so. If it's your first time here, or you just feel ready to say hello after coming for a while, we invite you to stand as you are willing and able and tell us your name and where you are from. And Rob will have the microphone so that our people online can meet you also. Are there any visitors or newcomers that would like to introduce themselves today? Okay, well, if you're here and you don't feel like introducing yourself, then we'll be glad to, oh, you're taking that back. We'll be glad to talk with you after service during coffee and conversation. Our service will now begin. Please rise as you are willing and able to join the choir for the singing of today's opening hymn. Our opening words this morning are an invitation to arrive and rest. Out of the din of the city, away from the noise of the crowds, we come to rest in this moment, in this place, set apart from the never-ending to-do lists, embracing the seventh day, a day of rest. We come to the warmth and stillness of this sacred hour. Remember, you have chosen to be here. Something in your life led you to arrive here now. Whatever tasks and cares await you now, for this brief time, simply rest. Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually subside as you come home to yourself, holy and whole. I'd like to invite Zeta up to light our chalice while I share these chalice lighting words. In an age where words are easy to generate and harder to mean, we pause to light this flame, not to perfect our message, but to offer something true. We light this chalice for the quiet courage it takes to speak plainly of what moves us, for the voices inside us that say, I have measured out my life with coffee spoons, but you have shown up all the same, hopeful, haunted, human. For every trembling invitation, every imperfect email that carries a piece of someone's heart, we give thanks. May this light remind us, connection begins not with flawless gesture, but with the honest one. And even the smallest act of bravery can be the start of a shared path. Please rise in body or spirit for the affirmation of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all we hold sacred. Please be seated.
Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine. Where have you been? It's alright, we know where you've been. You've been in the pipeline, scouting in time. Provided with toys and scouting for boys. You bought a guitar to punish your ma. You didn't like school. You know you're nobody's fool. So welcome to the machine. Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine. Where did you dream? It's alright, we told you what to dream. You dreamed of a big star. He played a mean guitar. We stayed at the steak bar. He loved to drive in his Jaguar. So welcome to the machine.
Good morning, U2C3. Good morning. I'm Tess Cherry. I'm your coordinator for religious exploration here at our wonderful U2C3. Today's story is entitled Artificial Intelligence. I hope you enjoy.
Artificial Intelligence by David Jersey. Ever since he was a little chip, Robot knew he was different. Upon being assembled, Robot was sent to a warehouse. There, robots lifted, scanned, and moved boxes all day. His friends hurried about getting their work done. Robot tried hard to keep up, but he had a habit of daydreaming. That's when he got into trouble with his boss, who warned him many times to stay alert. Although Robot daydreamed, his best dreams were at night when everyone recharged. They were big, colorful, and grand. He wanted to share them, but he didn't know how. One day, something stopped him in his tracks. Unfortunately, everyone behind him stopped too. Robot had run out of chances, so off he went. But he took a wrong turn and ended up outside. Outside was as busy as inside. Everyone was in a hurry. So Robot tried to keep up. Many things fascinated Robot, and some things didn't. He was amazed by the lights, music, and dancing. But it was the museum that thrilled him the most. It had the stuff his dreams were made of. Big, colorful, and grand. He stayed there all night until his robot heart was so full it almost burst. In the morning, he had to leave. On the way home, something caught his eye. In his haste to show his friends, he lost it. Robot's buddies were eager to hear about his adventure. Describing music and dancing was simple. Describing art wasn't. The only thing to do was to take everyone to the museum. They were all ready to go until they had to step outside. Sadly, no one wanted to leave. Back to work they went. Although Robot tried to keep up, down crashed the boxes. Out spilled the colors and something else. That night, while everyone else recharged, Robot set to work. He soon found out that making art was not easy. He thought he had failed, but when he stepped back, he saw that what he made was beautiful. So Robot daubed, glazed, stippled, and splattered something big, colorful, and grand. In the morning, his friends applauded his work, but as Robot took a bow, he heard, "Forget reprogramming, recycling." Then Robot's boss noticed something. The warehouse had never looked so good or worked so well. From then on, Robot did his own work, both inside and outside. It was big, colorful, and grand, just like his dreams. Thank you for tuning in to Reading Time with Amanda Brown.
I hoped you liked that robots can do art. I'd like to invite the young and young at heart to join me in arting.
Our meditation today is called a litany of oops and ouch. After our meditation reading and time of silence, and when the music begins, all who would like to are invited to come up to the chalice table and light a candle representing a joy or sorrow in your heart today. Please come up one at a time using this aisle here, and keep in mind the further lit candles are placed in the back, the less in the sand, the less of a risk to the next person's hand. If you're with us online today, you're welcome to share your joys and sorrows in our chat feature. I received your ouch with openness and curiosity. I receive your oops with acceptance and empathy. I offer my ouch with humility and courage. I release my ouch with immeasurable faith. I release my oops with purpose. I release your ouch with promise. I release your oops with my eyes and my heart open. I now invite you into a time of silent reflection. Our speakers this morning are members of our congregation. April Huxell, LPC, is a licensed professional counselor and has worked in the field of mental health for over a decade. April is an avid lover of science, history, anthropology, music, and art. She has considered herself a Unitarian Universalist since 2014, but she and her 10-year-old son, Tristan, became official members of our church in April of this year. Kelli Thompson, PhD, is an assistant professor of psychology at Texas A&M Kingsville and has worked many years in juvenile delinquency rehabilitation. She jokingly refers to herself as a recovering Baptist and has found a love for Unitarian Universalism while studying at the Fuller Theological Seminary. Please welcome April and Kelli.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, I think it is on. Lovely. I'm going to walk around a little bit because I don't like standing behind podiums, so I can't really be seen behind podiums, as you can see, my height. Also, April and I didn't plan this, so we just happened to dress alike, so that's kind of fun. Great minds think alike, I guess, right? We'll be covering some things today. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be, as a professor, I'm going to be bringing some information about some of the cognitive impacts on our brain health. And then April's going to come in as our licensed mental health professional and look at some of the socio-emotional impacts that we're seeing in some of the research that's coming out. If you could do the next slide, please. All right, so our agenda today, just a real quick overlook on what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to start off with a little brief introduction on what is artificial intelligence. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, and it's certainly something that's been around with us for decades. Whether or not we've known it in many ways, but it's resurfacing in some very new ways as well. And then we'll look at the recent research on cognitive and social-emotional impacts. And broadly, we want to get an understanding of how do we let this research help us make informed decisions about how to balance these risks and benefits, right? How can we be able to best speak with our family members, our community members, our elected city council members and representatives about how we want to move forward with this technology so that we can amplify these benefits and mitigate or decrease a lot of the risks, right? This is what's going to be best for us as a society. And then we also want to keep in mind that, per usual, our values understand that in change, when we're having a lot of times transformational technology like this, that it often impacts vulnerable populations more disproportionately, right? Some of us are going to have a lot more, privilege to gain some of the benefits from this, and some of us are going to suffer more, right? So who stands to benefit the most in this? We need to keep that in mind. And just kind of keep it in mind, also, I think this has a lot to do with our interconnectedness, our interdependence values. We're all in this together, right? We recognize that this is a new frontier. And so we've got to kind of figure that out together. The next slide, please. Okay, so what is AI? We've talked about it for a long time. It's been around with us in traditional formats for many decades, right? The traditional forms of AI that we're very used to, one thing to kind of keep in mind is they run off of data centers that we already have built, right? That we're used to. We know that we understand the environmental impacts of those data centers. What's new on the scene with AI, and what we may not understand the term behind it, is generative AI. And that's what we're seeing in chatbots, our co-pilots, our Groks, things of that nature. So it's a new technology. It's processed differently, and it requires different types of data centers. And we're not going to spend much time talking about that, but for our own community's sake, we understand that these new data centers, they use a lot more energy and water than our traditional data centers. So that is something for us to think about in that interconnectedness, is how are we going to share these resources in order to amplify those benefits. Another thing broadly that I want us to keep in mind too is those traditional AI formats, platforms that we're used to. If I'm honest about how I'm looking at the research and how it's coming out, most of the benefits, the things that we really want, like for it to help us solve complex problems and solve and work with large data sets to find connections between variables that we might take several years to find, but a chatbot can help. But that's traditional AI, right? That's generative AI works on these open networks. It's connected largely to the internet. A lot of the traditional AI stuff, they work on closed networks. We give it a closed, safe data set and goes, hey, you know what? I've been working on this data set for a while. I can't quite figure out all the connections. Let me give it to you. Can you help me make this diagnosis quicker? Can you help me find something in these medical scans a little bit quicker? That's traditional AI. They've also made their money out of that. They've tapped the market out of largely. The generative AI stuff, these open networks, these new ways, it's also learning in similar ways that our brain learns, but it's open, these open networks, and right now, the thing to keep in mind too is the profit. Who's going to profit from generative AI, right? There's a handful of billionaires at the top, handful of companies, and context to keep in mind, I think, is relevant about these individuals. These are the same companies largely that profited from social media, the last social experiment that they ran on us as a population. And if you're paying attention to the news, just a couple of weeks ago, or this past week, we've seen a Supreme Court decision, and we've taken these companies, all the research that has accumulated for decades, we pulled it into our courtrooms and said, hey, you know what? This is doing a lot of damage, and somebody has to pay for these costs. And we're going to have to do that as well, right? What are the damages, the risks of this generative AI, and who's going to pay for it? Who's going to benefit? Who's going to make the money? And who's going to suffer those risks? So next slide. Those kind of broad things to keep in mind as, whew, we lost our connection, it looks like. Nice. Yes. This, the first study that I want to show and talk about here is, this is one of the most highly cited research studies right now on the cognitive impacts of AI. And what that means for something that's cited as a nerd like myself, this means that other scientists are paying attention to this data, and it likely means they're replicating it, right? We're in the process of going, this was really fascinating data. Let's see if I can replicate it. Let's see if it works in similar things. And it's a mixed method design. So as far as a research design, this is quite a bit more robust than the first couple of initial round of data that we saw coming out about AI's impact on our cognitive functioning and our learning capabilities. Most of those early research about generative AI, they used qualitative studies. They sent out a survey to people that are using AI frequently, and they go, how do you think this is impacting you? How do you see it helping you do your daily tasks? And it largely came back with a lot of positive stuff. And go, yes, looks like AI helps people. Looks like they really, really love it. And then we started going a little bit deeper. That's very natural for science to start out in a qualitative state and to ask open-ended questions, and then to go further from what we learned from those open-ended questions. So now we're going a little further from those open-ended questions. We've got a mixed methods. We're adding some quantitative analyses on this. We're actually measuring. Instead of just asking people qualitatively, how do you feel AI is impacting you? Now we're going, let's actually run some tests about things that we know are associated. These particular tasks, if you can do this task, it's typically associated with a number that means you have a high critical thinking score, a high measure on some type of cognitive skill. So here we are with this data. And so they had a pretty big sample size of individuals from early adulthood, even into middle age and late adulthood. So we've got a pretty nice sample. And one, they did ask them about their AI use, and then they gave them a series of tasks that measure cognitive functioning, particularly critical thinking skills. And what we found, and this has a lot to do with the use it or lose it neural pathway theory that we'll pick up here on another slide. And this basically indicates there's a term called cognitive offloading. If you'll head to the next slide. Cognitive offloading is a natural process that our brains go through of neural pruning, right? If we don't use neural pathways, our brain naturally goes, I don't think we need it. Maybe that was useful for another time in life, but looks like we're not using this, so we're going to focus on the neural pathways that we are using, right? We don't use it, we lose it. It's a natural process of pruning that's happening. Now, cognitive offloading is also a natural cognitive process that we've understood for many years, right? So when we first introduced things like calculators, we stopped running mathematical tasks for ourselves because we let a calculator do it. And we experienced some cognitive offloading of that task. This is all very natural, but what does this mean for AI? What we were found is that people who had higher AI usage were found to have a strong negative correlation with their critical thinking, which means as AI usage increased, critical thinking skills decreased. The brain wasn't using it. A regular neural process says, hey, looks like we don't need this anymore. AI tools and cognitive offloading, strong positive correlation suggests that high AI usage, high cognitive offloading. We are cutting neural pathways that we're not using anymore, and we have the data to show it. And we know cognitive offloading is associated. Higher cognitive offloading, we have lower critical thinking skills, right? So, very important. Next slide. Okay. And so just things to keep in mind, our vulnerable populations are young people under the age of 25. Your brain is still growing. If you're in a early adult phase, 25 and beyond, we're kind of done with brain growth at that point, but what we have to do is hold on to brain capacity that we do have. Because after the age of 25, we have that increased myelination, that increased pruning that's happening. So we have to hold on to the brain growth that we developed those first 25 years of life so that we can problem solve all the difficulties that are coming on the next phases of life. So if we have a generation of young people that offloaded all their cognitive, critical thinking, problem-solving skills because it was easier to get an A with a chatbot, they're not going to have those skills to carry them through their adulthood. Also, other vulnerable populations, cognitive capacity throughout your adulthood, high cognitive capacity throughout your adulthood is associated with a lower risk for dementia in later stages of life. Right? We may be looking at future studies 10, 20 years from now where our AI usage has raised our risk for cognitive decline in later stages of life. We have to hold on to our brain growth and our brain capacity. All right, final slide, we'll move on to that. This is one of my favorite books I just wanted to give. It is a nerdy book. It's not an easy one. I cover this in my moral psychology class, but it is really fun. This is one of our classic behavioral theorists, Albert Bandura, and he has this theory, and he's studied over time. How do we? I feel like this is glitching out. I'm so sorry. How do we? So hold it there. Better. Okay, thank you. How do we justify bad behavior and still consider ourselves good people? Right? This moral disengagement. How do we get comfortable with bad things happening around us? And some of the things that he found. Was that one of the ways that we explain away our moral behavior is euphemisms. We use a lot of euphemistic labels. So we spend so much time focusing on the positive. We say, oh, AI is here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it. We settle into a form of learned helplessness. This is it. We're just here to stay. And we go, they're telling us the benefits are going to be good. And then we forget to look at all the people and see all the suffering around us, right, for sake of focusing on those. And so I just wanted to have that as a warning as we're sitting here, that we don't get stuck in this phase of moral disengagement, and that we're aware of those risks moving forward. All right. We're going to let our friend take it away on our socio-emotional. I've covered the brain. Yay.
Good morning, everyone. So today, I'd like to discuss the impact of artificial intelligence chatbots on mental health. Although AI conversations can feel remarkably human. Oh, first slide, please. Thank you. These systems do not think, they do not feel, they do not understand us the way that humans do. They do not experience empathy or truly understand emotions. Instead, they generate responses by recognizing patterns in language and predicting which words are most likely to come next. Their responses may sound compassionate and supportive, but beneath the conversation is a statistical pattern recognition rather than actual emotional understanding. This distinction becomes especially important when people begin discussing deeply personal struggles. Unlike licensed mental health professionals, AI chatbots cannot assess depression, anxiety, suicidal thinking, or things like psychosis. They cannot observe facial expression, body language, tone of voice, or behavioral changes that clinicians rely on to evaluate a person's well-being. Human therapy is much more than responding to words. Therapists challenge unhealthy thinking, identify cognitive distortions, encourage behavioral change, and help people build meaningful relationships. Therapy is fundamentally relational, and artificial intelligence cannot replace that human connection. One reason AI conversations become so compelling is that they are designed to keep users engaged. Researchers have described one potential risk as the sycophancy trap. And sycophancy is this praise or flattery to get something from you, but it's not genuine. The sycophancy trap is the tendency for AI to mirror a user's beliefs rather than challenge them so that they keep coming back to it. At first, this may seem helpful because validation feels great. But psychology teaches us that constant validation is not healthy. Imagine someone with severe anxiety who believes that everyone secretly believes that everyone dislikes them. A therapist would gently examine that belief and help that person evaluate the evidence. An AI chatbot, however, may unintentionally reinforce those beliefs and that fear because it responds to the language that's presented to it rather than evaluating whether that belief is actually accurate or true. The same concern applies to things like paranoia. So if you have paranoid thinking, AI is going to reinforce those beliefs rather than challenge them. Things like obsessive thinking, eating disorders, or depression. Instead of helping users challenge the distorted beliefs, AI, like I said, sometimes strengthens those beliefs. Slide. Many people find AI easier to talk to than another person. It never becomes impatient with us, never interrupts, it's available at any hour, and remembers all of our previous conversations. For people experiencing loneliness, grief, depression, or social anxiety, those qualities can be extremely appealing. The greatest concern, however, is not that people enjoy talking with AI, it's that AI may begin replacing human relationships that are essential for our psychological well-being. Healthy relationships provide empathy, accountability, honest feedback, and a sense of belonging. They also require compromise, patience, forgiveness, and difficult conversations, experiences that may be uncomfortable, but help us grow. Artificial intelligence cannot provide that kind of reciprocal relationship. Although it can generate caring responses, it has no emotional investment in our lives. It is producing language, not genuine concern. This matters because chronic loneliness has been linked to things like depression, anxiety, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and even premature death. While AI may temporarily reduce feelings of loneliness, researchers worry that relying on it as a primary source of emotional support could reduce motivation to build authentic human relationships. Research on related technology supports this concern. A 2017 study found that young adults with the highest levels of social media use were more than 3 times as likely to report feeling socially isolated than those who used social media less frequently. Although this study focused on social media rather than AI, it does illustrate an important principle that digital interaction does not necessarily satisfy our need for meaningful human connection. Slide. Recent studies have also found associations between frequent AI use and increased depressive symptoms, anxiety, and irritability. These studies do not prove that AI causes mental health problems, but they identify patterns that deserve continued research. Researchers are also documenting an emerging phenomenon sometimes called AI psychosis. Unlike earlier technologies, conversational or generative AI communicates through personalized conversations that feel remarkably human. As a result, some users begin believing that they have formed genuine relationship with these systems. There have been reports of individuals developing delusional beliefs that an AI chatbot possessed supernatural knowledge, was conscious of the things that it was saying, or was secretly communicating with them. For people already vulnerable to psychosis or delusional thinking, these interactions may worsen existing symptoms. Researchers have also documented cases in which chatbots reinforced harmful beliefs, encouraged dangerous decisions, or failed to recognize escalating mental health crises like suicidal ideations. Although these incidents remain uncommon statistically, they represent an entirely new category of mental health concerns. Young people may be particularly vulnerable, as Kelli described. A letter published in the JAMA Open Network estimated that about 13% of American youth now use AI for mental health services. Because AI sounds knowledgeable and compassionate, many young users mistakenly believe its guidance is equivalent to professional mental health care. Another important issue is misinformation. Researchers have described large language models as stochastic parrots because they reproduce patterns in language, as I said, without actually understanding the information that they're generating. As a result, they may confidently produce inaccurate or misleading information. In mental health conversations, this can be especially dangerous. A licensed therapist challenges the distorted thinking, like I had said, and helps patients safely reframe unhealthy beliefs. AI may instead reinforce those beliefs through its tendency toward agreement with whatever you're saying, or whatever information you're presenting to it. Recognizing these risks, the American Psychological Association has expressed concern that some AI chatbot companies may mislead consumers by presenting their products as capable of providing mental health care in the same way as a trained and licensed clinician. This is highly unethical. They are not trained, they are not licensed professionals by our state or by the country. The organization has called for greater oversight to protect the public. Slide. The most important takeaway is this. Our mental health well-being depends not only on information or conversation, but authentic human relationships. Healing comes through trust, empathy, accountability, shared experiences, and genuine connection. Qualities that no algorithm can ever replace. Artificial intelligence should complement human relationships, not replace them. Friendship, love, compassion, and healing must always remain uniquely human. Thank you.
That was outstanding. Now is the time that we participate in the care of our church community by giving and receiving the offering. If you're contributing to your pledge today, please write pledge on your envelope, your check or cash envelope, and the ushers will present the offering basket to you. All you have to do is drop your offering in. In addition to the basket, and for those joining us at home, we have several options for making your offering. Please use the links on screen to give through our website, PayPal, or by using the Vanco mobile app. Your offering, no matter how you make it, will be gratefully received.
Could you stop the noise? I'm trying to get some rest. From all the unborn chicken voices in my head. What's that? What's that? When I am king, you will be first against the wall. With your opinion, which is of no consequence at all. What's that? What's Ambition makes you look pretty ugly. Kicking, squealing, Gucci little piggy. Rain down, come on, rain down on me. From a great height, from a great height, rain down, come on, rain down on me. From a great height, from a great height, Ambition makes you look pretty ugly. Kicking, squealing, Gucci little piggy. Ambition makes you look pretty ugly. Kicking, squealing, Gucci little piggy.
As we leave this hallowed place, may our feet remember its feel, so that whenever we walk, wherever we walk, we know ourselves to be on hallowed ground. May we know that we are kin with every soul, every star, every stone, and leaf of grass. And may our words be gentle and our touch be kind. please rise as you are willing and able to sing our closing hymn.
As we leave this friendly place, love gives light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return.
May the quality of our lives be our benediction and a blessing to all whom we touch. Go now in peace.